Hello, my friends. I'm Dr. Linda Parker, and today I want to talk to the men watching who are over 65, because there's one harmless supplement that many good people take every day with the best intentions, and yet it can quietly raise the risk of serious problems in your body at this age. Not next year, not someday, immediately. And the worst part is that it often looks like a healthy choice on the label. It's sold everywhere. It's recommended by neighbors. Sometimes it's even suggested in passing by well-meaning professionals who don't have the full picture of your medications, your circulation, your prostate, or your bleeding risk. The supplement I'm talking about is high-dose vitamin E, especially the kind that comes in large capsules like 400 IU and above, taken daily as a long-term habit. Now, let's slow down for a second, because I can already hear the thought in your head. Vitamin E is an antioxidant. Antioxidants are good, so how could it be dangerous? That assumption has trapped millions of people, because antioxidant sounds like anti-aging. It sounds like protection. It sounds like the opposite of harm. But the human body doesn't work like a simple slogan. In real physiology, more is not automatically better. And when you're over 65, your risk profile changes. Your blood vessels change, your platelet function changes, your liver metabolism changes, your medication list changes, and your margin for error gets smaller. So in this video, I'm going to do 3 things, clearly and without scare tactics. First, I'll explain why high-dose vitamin E can become a problem after 65, even if you've taken it for years with no obvious symptoms. Second, I'll show you the specific danger combinations, the situations where vitamin E becomes more risky because of common medications and common conditions. And third, I'll give you safer, smarter alternatives for longevity and vitality that don't play games with your bloodstream and your long-term risk. Here's the myth I want to break right at the start. If a supplement is sold over the counter, it must be safe for everyone. That's simply not true. Supplements can behave like drugs in the body. They can amplify medications, they can alter clotting, they can shift inflammation, they can change hormone signaling. And because they're marketed as natural, people take higher doses for longer periods without monitoring, without review, and without ever asking the most important question. Is this still appropriate for me at my age, with my current health and my current medications? Let's talk about the real-world problem men over 65 face. At this stage of life, many men are juggling several priorities at once. You want to protect your heart. You want to keep your circulation strong. You want to preserve your energy. You want to maintain confidence and wellness in the mature years. You want your mind to stay sharp. And you want to avoid the scary events, strokes, sudden bleeding, falls that become complicated, hospital stays that change your independence. And that's exactly why many men start vitamin E in the first place. Maybe someone told you it helps the heart. Maybe you heard it supports blood vessels. Maybe you read it could help the prostate. Maybe you simply wanted cell protection. And for a long time, vitamin E was marketed as a kind of protective shield. But here's the reality. Once you cross 65, the main risk with high-dose vitamin E is that it can thin the blood in a way you didn't intend. Not like a prescription blood thinner, but enough to increase bleeding risk, especially in the brain, the gut, and the urinary tract. And it can do this quietly. This is how it often shows up in everyday life. You bruise more easily. You notice gums bleeding more when brushing. You have more frequent nosebleeds. You're told you're a little anemic. Your stool turns darker sometimes. Your urine has a pink tint once and you wait it out. Or you have a minor fall and the bruising is surprisingly dramatic. Many men shrug these off as just aging. But in the background, there can be an avoidable contributor, an over-supplemented clotting system. Why does this matter so much for men over 65? Because many men are already taking something that affects clotting. Aspirin. A daily baby aspirin. a prescription antiplatelet, or a full anticoagulant for atrial rhythm issues, previous clots, stents, or vascular disease. Even if you're not on a strong blood thinner, you might be on medication that influences the same pathways. Certain anti-inflammatories, certain heart medications, and sometimes combinations that amplify each other. If you add high-dose vitamin E on top of that, you're stacking effects. And stacking effects is how small risks become real events. Now let's go deeper into the science in a simple way. Vitamin E is fat-soluble. That means your body stores it more than water-soluble vitamins. It can accumulate. It also interacts with platelet aggregation and vitamin K-dependent clotting factors in ways that can tilt the body toward bleeding. In younger healthy adults, the body can often compensate. In older adults, especially those with vascular fragility, hypertension, a history of minor bleeds, or certain medication profiles, the compensation isn't as reliable. There's another layer many men don't know. When researchers started studying high-dose vitamin E in large groups over time, the promised benefits didn't show up the way people expected. In some cases, the opposite signals appeared: more bleeding concerns and other unexpected outcomes that made the medical community step back and say, "We need to be cautious here." And this is where I want to be very clear. I'm not saying vitamin E from food is the enemy. Food-based vitamin E, nuts, seeds, olive oil, leafy greens, comes packaged with other nutrients in moderate amounts in a biological context the body understands. The problem is the megadose capsule taken daily as if it were a harmless insurance policy. Now let's talk about the second concern that is particularly relevant for older men: prostate risk signals that emerged in major research. For years, men were told antioxidants might reduce cancer risk. It sounded logical. Oxidative stress is involved in aging, so people assumed more antioxidants would mean less cancer. But biology is not that linear. In the body, oxidative signaling is not always bad. Sometimes it is part of immune surveillance, part of how the body detects and manages abnormal cells. When you artificially flood the system with a high-dose isolated antioxidant, you can disrupt the balance. Think of it like this. Your body is not trying to eliminate all oxidation. It's trying to regulate it. The goal is balance, not elimination. When that balance is disrupted, the outcomes can be unpredictable. And in older men, we don't gamble with unpredictable. Here's the everyday version of this problem. A man is doing everything right. He walks, he eats better, he takes a multivitamin, and he adds high-dose vitamin E because it feels like extra protection. Then, years later, he's told his PSA is climbing or he's navigating prostate decisions. Suddenly, he's forced into a world of uncertainty, and he has no idea that one of the innocent pills he took daily may have been unnecessary at best and potentially unhelpful at worst. Now let's talk about the danger combinations, because this is where the message becomes urgent. If you're over 65 and you take high-dose vitamin E, you need to pay extra attention if any of the following are true. If you take aspirin daily, even low dose, stopping high-dose vitamin E is one of the simplest ways to reduce stacking bleeding risk. If you take a prescription blood thinner for any reason, high-dose vitamin E is not something you just keep taking without an explicit medical review. If you take an antiplatelet medication after stents or vascular events, vitamin E can be a quiet amplifier. If you use anti-inflammatory pain relievers frequently for joints or back pain, the combination can increase gastrointestinal bleeding risk. If you have uncontrolled or fluctuating high blood pressure, brain bleeding risk is not a theoretical concept. It's a known danger zone when multiple factors align. If you've ever had black stools, unexplained anemia, frequent bruising, or a mystery bleed? Vitamin E is not a supplement you should keep taking at high doses. If you have a history of strokes, transient symptoms, or vascular fragility, you don't add anything that increases bleeding tendency unless it's absolutely necessary. And here's one more that many men don't consider. If you're scheduled for any procedure, dental work, minor surgery, biopsies, high-dose vitamin E can complicate bleeding and healing. This is one of the reasons many surgeons ask patients to stop certain supplements before procedures. It's not paranoia, it's practical safety. Now, let's address the emotional side of this, because I know what it feels like to realize you've been taking something for years and it might not have helped you. It can feel frustrating, it can feel embarrassing, it can feel like, so what can I trust? Here's what you can trust. Your body responds best to fundamentals that have consistent, repeatable benefits. Sleep, strength and balance training, blood pressure control, a diet that supports blood vessels, hydration, protein adequacy, sunlight and daily movement, and targeted supplements only when they match a specific need, at appropriate doses, with clear boundaries. So what should you do today? First, check the label. If you're taking vitamin E at 400 IU or higher daily, treat that as high dose. If it's been part of your routine for months or years, don't panic, but do take it seriously. Second, don't replace one habit with another random pill. The goal is not find a new supplement. The goal is to build a smarter system. Third, if you're on any medication that affects clotting or you have any history of bleeding, bring this up at your next appointment, not as a confrontation. As a simple, empowering question, I've been taking high-dose vitamin E. Is that appropriate with my current medications and risk profile? Now let's talk about what to do instead, because men over 65 do deserve support for circulation, vitality, and longevity. You just want the support to be safe. One of the safest, most evidence-aligned shifts you can make is to stop thinking in terms of megadoses and start thinking in terms of foundations. Foundation number 1, support your blood vessels through lifestyle that improves endothelial function. That means walking after meals, even 10 minutes. If you want a simple rule, if you eat, walk. If you can't walk, stand and move. This improves glucose handling and blood flow without any pill. Foundation number 2, strength training that preserves muscle and insulin sensitivity. If you want a clear framework, if you're over 65, lift something 2 to 3 times a week. It can be dumbbells, bands, or body weight. Muscle is not vanity. Muscle is metabolic protection. Muscle helps stabilize blood sugar, support hormones, and preserve independence. Foundation number 3, blood pressure discipline. This is one of the most underrated vitality tools. Many men focus on supplements and ignore the most powerful driver of vascular aging, consistently elevated pressure. If your pressure is high in the morning, the solution isn't another antioxidant capsule. The solution is sleep quality, hydration timing, sodium-potassium balance, stress downshifting, and medical guidance if needed. Now, if you still want a supplement strategy, let's make it rational. If your goal is general heart and vessel support, a modest, food-first approach beats isolated megadoses. Think mixed nuts, olive oil, fatty fish, colorful vegetables. These patterns come with built-in synergy and don't overload one pathway. If your goal is energy and mature vitality, start with correcting the basics that sabotage energy: low iron from slow bleeding, low B12, poor sleep, dehydration, sedentary days, and poorly controlled blood sugar swings. Many men take vitamin E hoping it will fix fatigue. But fatigue is often a signal, not a deficiency of antioxidants. If your goal is confidence and wellness in the mature years, prioritize circulation habits. If you want a simple rule, if you sit for an hour, Stand for 2 minutes and move your legs. The circulation system is dynamic. It responds to movement more reliably than it responds to a capsule. And here's something practical that many men appreciate. A simple evening routine that supports sleep and circulation without increasing bleeding risk. A short walk after dinner. A warm shower. A magnesium-rich dinner from foods like leafy greens and legumes. Gentle stretching. Consistent sleep timing. This does more for vascular repair than most people realize. Now let me tell you a quick story that captures why this matters. A man in his late 60s once told me he was doing everything right. He took a daily aspirin because he thought it was good for prevention. He took fish oil because it was popular. And he took high-dose vitamin E because someone said it was good for the heart. Then he started noticing bruises on his arms that looked dramatic from small bumps. He brushed it off. Then he had a bout of dizziness and ended up in a workup that scared his family. No catastrophic event happened, thankfully, but when his supplement list was reviewed, it was obvious. He had created a self-made blood-thinning stack without intending to. Once the stack was simplified, the bruising reduced, and his peace of mind improved. The point isn't that supplements are bad. The point is that uncoordinated stacking is risky, especially after 65. So let's make this simple and actionable. If you are a man over 65 and you take high-dose vitamin E daily, the safest move is to stop the high-dose version and shift to food-based vitamin E unless a qualified professional has a specific reason for you to be on that dose and is monitoring you. If you're thinking, but I heard vitamin E helps my skin. Remember, skin is a reflection of vascular health, collagen support, sleep, hydration, protein intake, and sun-smart behavior. You don't risk internal bleeding to chase a cosmetic benefit. If you're thinking, but I heard antioxidants slow aging. Remember, the best anti-aging strategy is not a megadose. It's stable blood pressure, stable blood sugar, strong muscles, good sleep, and consistent movement. That's the strategy that actually changes outcomes. And if you're thinking, I don't know what supplements are safe anymore, here's a good rule. If a supplement is fat-soluble, high dose, and taken daily for long periods, treat it like a medication. Review it, question it. Don't assume it's harmless. Before we close, I want you to hear this clearly. The goal is not fear. The goal is freedom. The goal is to remove the hidden risks you didn't sign up for, so you can keep what truly helps you: energy, independence, strong circulation, confidence, and calm. If this message made you rethink something in your own routine, take a moment to look at your supplement shelf today. Not tomorrow, today. Read labels, notice doses, notice combinations. Ask yourself one honest question. Is this supporting my future, or is it just a habit I've never reevaluated? And if you know a father, an uncle, a brother, or a friend over 65 who proudly takes a handful of supplements every morning, share this conversation with them. Not to alarm them, simply to protect them. Because sometimes the most powerful health upgrade is not what you add, it's what you stop. Thank you for being here with me. If you want more clear, practical guidance for men in the mature years, circulation, prostate wellness, energy, and the habits that protect longevity, stay close to this channel. And if you have a question about a supplement you're unsure about, leave it in the comments and tell me your age and what you're taking, so we can talk about the principles that keep you safe and strong.